everyone. I am 100% still answering your questions that you asked a few weeks ago. I was going to do them all this weekend and then got distracted by this sweet old man getting sick. So a lot of people had questions about leash reactivity and what they do when their dog is lunging. So those are all great questions. The thing is, I'm not there to help you. And when people are only thinking about what they do when the dog lunges, they're not thinking about everything else before then. So how the leash is put on, what leash they're using, how slow they go, how the dog comes out of the crate, if the dog is crated, if your dog has any reactivity issues, or just doesn't listen to you 100% of the time, crate. If you do place work with your dog, how much excitement you bring. When you're getting the leash ready, are you saying, let's go for a walk, let's go for a walk, let's go for a walk? Because it's not fair for you to get your dog all excited and then to get frustrated or mad at the dog when it's pulling you or when it lunges. So it's really important to remember that reactivity comes from excitement. So people will say, oh, but you know, the tail is wagging. Great, dogs' tails wag when they fight. It just means excitement. So excitement when you're going on a walk isn't exactly what I would want if I'm taking Olivia, my toddler, to go eat at a restaurant. I'm not going to say, let's go eat, and like let her run around all the way to go eat at the restaurant. We're not going to have a successful time of her sitting still and eating. So it's about setting your dog up for success until that happens, so that their excitement is much lower when they see the other dog. But if they're already pulling you, if you guys aren't in tune, if you're on your phone, if the dog's way ahead of you, that's not really a bonding walk, and it's going to be way more likely that the dog reacts. So it's really about having the right leash and slowing the dog before then. And I often find, I don't know, 60% of the time, 70% of the time, that when people just put in rules, boundaries, limitations, and add structure to their daily life with their dog and stop representing so much excitement to their dog, crate, place work, all these things, that the reactivity just actually goes away on its own. So I'm going to use Bella. My other board and trains are a bit more ahead because she just started half a week ago. So, and she had no leash pressure at all. So, and by leash pressure I just mean her, when she feels a little bit, she wants to go with me, right? If a lot of dogs, when they feel a little bit, they actually just like pull more the other way. So if you allow your dog to pull you to the tree, to pull you to the bush, to pull you anywhere, what's the difference of, in your dog's mind, of it pulling you to go see the other dog? So I would limit, if your dog is reactive on the leash, I would limit how much excitement your dog is allowed to be around other dogs. If you have friends that have dogs, go on pack walks together instead of going to the dog park. The dog park brings a lot of excitement, and what happens is a lot of dogs become reactive when, like if their only exercise is dog park or daycare, and then they see a dog on the leash, they're so used to being able to rush that other dog and go see that other dog. When they can't, that can often turn to frustration, which turns to leash reactivity. So a lot of times it comes from, like, those are the dogs that actually love other dogs more and want to see them more, but they haven't they've never practiced calm with other dogs. So it's really important you practice the calm first before you add in the excitement. So I like slip leashes. I'm not against any tool if they work. The thing with harnesses, so when I was at the vet with Blue for like 6 hours the other day, there was this happy-go-lucky golden retriever pup in the office, but it kept really rushing and rudely going into other dogs' faces. And the other dogs were handling it well, but it was such an easy fix to me, just switching the leash. Sometimes it just is as simple as switching the leash, that I went to my car and I showed the owner a different leash, and it helped a lot. So the thing with harnesses, people suggest them all the time for pulling, but when dogs feel pressure here, instinctually, their brain goes forward. I love that she's blocking my face during this. She's so much cuter to look at. Instinctually, when they feel pressure here, they go forward. So it's the same if they have a harness. Harnesses are made for pulling. They're made for sled dogs. They were made to pull. So there's that. That's my opinion on harnesses. Now, collars like look at Bella's here. If you use the collar, it's kind of the same thing as a harness because it still will put pressure here on her chest, and instinctually she'll want to go forward. So, and then if it's in the middle of their neck, that's where the choking happens. I'm not personally, I have a bug on your booty. I'm not personally a fan of prongs or chains. My biggest reason is although I wish I had a lot of muscle, I don't, and I don't need a prong or chain, therefore I don't think, yeah, I don't know, I'm just not really for them, and it's probably because I was taught to use them wrong when I first got Lily, so I'm not against it. My opinion on it is that people don't know how to properly use it, and what will happen is then they just end up building muscle and building these calluses around their neck, so then the dog needs more force. And I'm all about using as little force as necessary. I'm not going to be if I have to use force, or if I have to use corrections, or if I have to constantly be doing things in a walk, I mean, no one's going to enjoy that walk. You won't, your dog won't, you're going to get frustrated, and you'll probably give up to either let your dog pull or just stop walking your dog. So I'm all about using as little muscle as possible, which is why I use slip leads, and which is why I recommend slip leads. So, come here, Belle. So, slip leads go right on top of the neck, right behind the ears. It's the most sensitive part of the neck, so that we can use as little force as possible, which is what I am about. So, whatever stopper you have, you don't want it so tight that there's never a pressure release. You want it loose. Dogs communicate pressure release. So you want it loose enough. Let's see if you can see this. So there's pressure, release. You don't want it so tight that there's never a release, because then your dog doesn't know when you're happy and doesn't know how to quite communicate. So you can pull up and their booty goes down. That took a few days of practice. She had a bit of a tantrum at first. So it's really just about holding that pressure. Come here, Bill. It's about holding that pressure until their booty goes down. And it's not about pressure release, pressure release, pressure release. No, it's pressure until the booty goes down. The moment the booty goes down, you release the pressure, okay? Now, what's here? I didn't even see that. While I was talking. So, good girl. I'll add more to leash work later. I think this is good for now. A good amount of information for everyone to take in. You can like it if you want. You can use it if you want. Don't if you want. But this is if you're not slowing down. And here's the thing, if your dog is super pumped to go on the walk, the leash doesn't go on. You wait for that to calm down, because if the leash represents reactivity, if the leash represents excitement, you're way more likely to have reactivity. So I will post a video of what it looks like when I leash my dogs and how Lily puts on the leash, because Lily used to be extremely reactive, and actually I didn't notice this till later, but when I put the leash on her, she would kind of wince. So now she sticks her head through the leash and she feels all good about it, which is what I want walks to represent and the leash to represent to her. So hope this is helpful. Cheers.